Welcome to An Awful World, but not awful like you think.
This is the show where we discuss whether we would have discovered important advances in a world exclusively full of Haylies and Libbys. I'm Haylie.
And I'm Libby. And today we're talking about holidays. Celebrate! We've only been singing that literally all day in anticipation of this episode.
Yes, we're very excited.
So excited. We love Madonna. We also love the Green Day song, On Holiday.
Yes, we do.
We love that. Earlier, Haylie thought that I was saying that like Green Day had like covered that song by Madonna, which would be really awesome.
It would. I'm kind of bummed now that they didn't.
Right. So like Billy Joe, if you're listening, you guys should totally cover Madonna. That'd be amazing. Like, can you imagine just like a virgin touch for the very first time or something? I don't know. Anyway.
I need that.
We're talking about holidays and we're so excited. And this is one of two parts.
Yes, this is a two-part season finale.
Season finale, not series finale, bitches.
No.
We're coming back in 2025.
That's right.
Which doesn't feel real.
It doesn't. That doesn't feel like a real number.
A real number? No, because in my mind, it's still like 2012.
Right.
So anyway, we're coming back in 2025. But we are going to talk about holidays today and next week, and then we're going to take a brief holiday hiatus so that we can rest and you can rest and everybody can regroup in January 2025 and we can kick off season 2.
That's right. It'll be such a fun way to start the year.
It will be. But now let's talk about a fun way to end the year.
That's right.
Holidays.
That's right. And I know in my research, and I think that you have it too, is that the oldest holiday is New Year's.
Which makes sense, right?
Yes.
Because like it's one of the only holidays that's universally celebrated around the world.
Right. And what I love is that the original New Year's was it was 2000 BCE, and it was in March.
It was in March, which you're listening to this and you're like, that's weird. But like it makes sense, right?
And it's not that weird if you listened to our calendars episode.
Because we would also start our new year probably in March or April around the springtime when everything's coming back to life, because that makes more sense.
It does make more sense.
But this was like Gregorian calendar or whatever. So just rewind back to that episode, which Haylie says that nobody knows what rewind sounds like anymore.
It does. We don't.
Which is really depressing to me.
We know, but like the younger generations, they don't know.
They don't know about Be Kind Rewind.
No.
Dropping it off the slot at the Blockbuster. But anyway, moving on from that. So New Year's is the oldest. I also read, I don't know if you read this about New Year's, but it was apparently also important politically because they would either crown like a new ruler during the New Year's time, or, and I put this in quotations, they would have a divine mandate that said, current ruler, you're good. You're good to go. Which I wish you could see the skepticism on my face, because I'm like, okay, Babylonians.
Yeah, interesting.
Did we mention that? Did we mention it was the Babylonians?
Oh, yeah, it's the Babylonians.
It's the Babylonians. They're the astronomical people. They're the calendar people. So that sort of checks out.
Yes.
But whatever. So, I didn't have like really a lot else about New Year's because like it hasn't really changed that much.
No, just the date. That's really it.
Which makes sense.
We're also celebrating. It's New Year.
Yeah.
New Year, new me.
New me. Probably not.
No.
Same bullshit. New Year.
But I know there's like thousands of holidays. I swear to God. And
so many.
There's so many, and they're for so many different things.
Yeah.
Not just religious things and not just the New Year. But we have holidays for like important people and
all kinds of stuff
to just like community
holidays. Weird holidays like National Ice Cream Day or whatever.
Express gratitude for things. I think it's just to reconnect and celebrate and have fun.
Yeah.
And so there's like a million holidays.
Yeah. But I kind of want to talk about some of my favorite holidays.
Let's hear it.
One of my favorite holidays is Halloween.
which is coming up.
Love spooky Halloween. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably listening to it the day after Halloween.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun because we're going to be talking about the day after Halloween a little bit in this episode.
Yes.
As we talk about Halloween. Jump in the Halloween machine with me, won't you? Let's go down like Jack Skellington down. He opens the pumpkin, yeah. So that's that's me going down, falling down the pumpkin tree. My God, I've lost my mind. Anyway. Halloween is a really, really hella old. So we think it's probably like 2,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with the Celtics, which are like Haylie's people.
That's right, they are.
They're like, because they turned into like the Irish later. And then the Irish turned into Protestants, which is kind of funny because we'll talk about it.
But you're welcome for Halloween.
Yeah, you're welcome from the Celtics, from Haylie.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll take that credit.
It started off as this festival called Samhain, which is not at all like spelled out like it sounds.
Yeah.
It's spelled like Sam Hain.
Yeah. The Irish, so the Celtics would do the same. They're just like, they just use the alphabet differently.
Yeah. It's like Saoirse.
Yeah.
The name Saoirse. Like, where did you get that?
Yeah. Which I think they actually, a lot of times they're just like Saoirse.
Saoirse. Yeah. I think you're right. And I'm just like, that is.
And you're like, there's like
extra letters.
So many letters in there, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, we won't criticize the Celtics on their alphabet any further. But actually for the Celtics, their new year started on November 1st, which is an odd choice. And I don't know why they chose that. So don't ask me. But that was like, I guess like the end of summer, the end of harvest, winter is coming sort of thing. And they often associated winter with death, which makes sense because, like, you know, trees and plants are dying and things are getting cold. And so people are probably dying in those times and whatever. It's really dark. But they believed that the night before the new year, so October 31st, that the boundary between the living and the dead was really blurred. And so they had like their types of like priests were called druids, which I think is funny. I think it sounds like an alien name, but it's not. It's their priests. And so their priests, they believe that during this festival, when the boundary was like sort of blurred between the living and the dead, that they could like predict the future more easily, which was something that was comforting to them because then they would know like it's going to be a good crop year or like we're going to survive the winter or whatever.
Right.
I doubt that these priests were ever like, oh boy, a big storm is coming this winter. Like that's just unnecessarily spooky. But then Halloween. So I guess, I don't know. I wasn't there. But what they would do is they would build these like huge bonfires and they would like burn crops and animals as sacrifices. And like it was a whole party. And then they would wear costumes. But like costumes at the time was really just like animal heads and animal skins.
Ugh.
Which reminds me of the movie Midsummer, which I know Haylie hasn't seen, but like she totally should because it's super fucked up.
Yeah, I do love things that are fucked up, but I just don't think I could get into that. I don't.
No, I'm not going to be wearing any animal heads.
I don't think in an awful world we would do that.
No, and especially me after seeing that movie. Boy, oh boy. If you want to talk about the ending of Midsummer, hit me up because what a scene. Anyway, so then they would like go home and they would relight the fires in their hearths at home to like protect them during the winter to keep them warm, whatever. But then, as you know, or you maybe don't know if you're listening, because honestly, I didn't know this because I don't know world history. Don't come at me. So the Romans, those greedy little motherfuckers.
It's always the Romans.
I know. They conquer the Celtics. By the time it's like 43 AD, they pretty much completely conquered the Celtics. But I will say that they were slightly progressive because they were like, what if we didn't totally just make you assimilate to our religion? What if instead we kind of just like combined your festival with our festival? And
which is nice.
It is nice.
A little more compromise.
It's a little woke of them.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, Romans. So that's kind of what they did. They kind of just combined the two traditions. And then, you know, several hundred years go by and they decide to make it like an official like church holiday because the Romans become, of course, the Roman Catholics, which is ironic because the Romans killed Jesus. Shame on you, Romans, but that's what happened. So now they're Roman Catholics and they're like super pious and whatever. And Pope Boniface the Fourth, I don't know if that's correct because I'm not Catholic, so I don't know how to say it.
We'll say it is.
He established what became known as All Martyrs Day, which is funny because in my notes, I accidentally wrote All Marty's Day. Forgot that second R. So if you're a Marty, wow, congrats. November 1st is your day, babe.
It's like in Parks and Rec when they're supposed to dump all the tea in the river, but the like handwriting makes it look like a D instead of an A. So they throw Ted in the river.
Yes, that is exactly. Happy All Marty's Day. Have some Smarties for a Marty's. Just candy reference. Anyway, so All Martyrs Day becomes November 1st, but then all the saints are like super jealous and they're like, excuse us, where's our day? And so then another Pope Gregory III is like, all right. I'll expand it to its All Saints and Martyrs Day. Eventually, and he makes that November 1st. Eventually, we sort of just like drop the martyrs thing and say like, it's All Saints Day. And it's celebrated just like the Celtics celebrated it with the big bonfires and the costumes and all of that stuff. But then it develops into what's called All Hallows, which is from the Middle English phrase meaning All Saints Day. And then it becomes All Hallows Eve. And then it becomes Halloween. So then in America, after the Middle Ages, the Puritans come here and then they sort of become like Protestant. So this is like just the funny part. It's like the Protestants, they know likey the Halloween. Okay. They're not into it. But as the European groups coming to the Americas sort of meshed a little bit with the indigenous people and their beliefs and all of that, then our true idea of Halloween is born. So the whole like telling ghost stories and like celebrating and dancing and singing and blah, 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 that really becomes like the tradition in the Americas. So then by the mid 1800s, we're celebrating, autumn festivals and it's like fun and there's like apple bobbing and yada, yada, blah, blah, whatever.
Watching the leaves change.
Exactly. And just like going to Bath and Body Works. They were doing that
Getting
in the
your
1800s.
leaves candles.
Of course.
Got to stock up.
Got to stock up so you don't have that candle insecurity.
That's right.
So then by the mid 1800s is really when trick-or-treating becomes a thing. So with the whole like it's ghost stories and blah, 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 like it really became like a tricksters type holiday where it was just like, ooh, we're going to play fun little pranks. And people in the communities were like, we don't like that. Stop doing that. And so people really began dressing up and going door to door. And they were like, we won't trick you, but only if you give us a little sweet treat. And so, which is really weird because what is like the one thing like from your childhood that you're taught never to do?
Yeah. Like don't take candies from strangers.
Exactly. Yeah. So like what? And now it's just this like sanctioned thing.
I know, which I always think about. I'm like, if I had kids right now, which I don't, but if I did, would I feel really comfortable with them doing that? I just don't know that I would. But then you can't be the parent who's like, oh, you don't get to do fun things for Halloween because that's a bummer too.
Yeah. And didn't you always like judge those families that were like, we don't celebrate Halloween and we keep our lights off because we hate fun?
Yes.
Just like, I'm not going to do that. I think it's more just like you're going to have to go like door to door with your children.
Yes.
When they're really little.
Yes. And you got to make sure that they don't have like unwrapped candy. Not that people are putting drugs in your candy.
No, they're not going to give you their drugs.
No, they're going to have fun with their drugs at home. Drugs are too expensive, especially
to be giving them away to children.
Yes, you're not going to be taking your gummies.
No.
And giving them to kids.
Right. Like if I have edibles, I'm not giving them away to kids. Right. What am I, a monster? This is Halloween, but come on.
Right.
Really, you're checking their Halloween candy baskets for like Nickelback CDs and
obviously
things that could corrupt their minds. No, I'm totally kidding. I love Nickelback kind of. So anyway, everybody, anytime you hear the song Rockstar by Nickelback, come on, you're gonna sing it.
Yeah. I'll have the quesadilla.
I'll have the quesadillas. So anyway, So that was like the whole trick or treat thing is like the moving from, it's going to be like a trickster to like more of a fun, like community holiday. We're like all getting together. We're all pitching in. It's super fun, whatever. And then it becomes fully secular by like the 1920s and 30s. Again, not that long ago. That's 100 years. I tell you, if you go Googling some old Halloween costumes, boy, are they spooky as fuck.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're so scary. Just like these little kids, like just, ugh, oh my God, it's so scary. So it becomes now, it's the second most commercialized holiday after Christmas. It's the most, like, in the United States, one of the most popular holidays.
That makes sense.
That we celebrate.
That makes sense. You know, what I think is super funny is that there are some like pagan type parts of Halloween.
Yeah.
And then there are Christian parts of Halloween.
Yeah.
And they've all just kind of been merged together, which is funny because there are other holidays that's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, the exact same thing. But they've really, like, Christmas, which we'll talk about later, but then they've gone so far in opposite directions.
Yeah.
You know, where like there are definitely religious aspects to Halloween, but we don't really think of that anymore. And a lot of like extreme Christians are like,
they don't celebrate.
Yeah, they don't celebrate. That's devil worshiping. That's, scary and spooky, and you don't get to have any fun. And it's like, actually, it was a religious holiday.
Right.
At one point.
It was, but it's not anymore.
No, but it's just kind of funny because then there were so many pagan things that were part of Christmas. And now, it's so Christian that they want no association with the pagan side of it.
Yeah, which is just fascinating because that's the origin of it.
Right. And so it's just interesting that they like are both combinations of the two, and then they both went complete polar opposite ways. So it's just very funny.
Yeah, it is funny for sure.
It's funny how holidays just like morph over time.
It's so funny. And actually, I was just talking, I feel like I say this all the time on this podcast and it's probably obnoxious, but I was talking with my boyfriend about it last night, and I was like, I am so glad that I live in the time that I live in and we celebrate holidays the way that we do now.
Yes.
Because I love Halloween. I eat that shit up.
Yes.
I want to watch all the movies. I want to buy candy. Every year for like the last 6 years, I make mummy dogs, which are just like little corn dogs that look like mummies.
And I love that.
And I make like skull mac and cheese.
We make skull pizzas.
Yeah, and yes. And it's just like, it's so fun. It's just become just this fun little thing. And it's so fun to like pass out candy and watch and look at the kids and what they're all dressed up in and like what their creativity is created, And I just love it. I love it so much.
Yes, it's so fun.
It's second in my heart only after Christmas. So we love Halloween. In an awful world, we're not going to have Halloween like it looks now.
No.
I'm really... So just wiping my tears over here.
Yeah.
Because look, we're probably never like the way it has evolved. That's not going to happen.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, there may be some sort of religion or some sort of situation where we believe that there is a day where the lines are kind of blurred and you can see the dead or the future, whatever, that might be a thing. But I don't see how that ever gets us to costumes and candy.
Me either. Now, my thing is that I think that, the Libby of this world, she loves autumn. I love autumn so much. I love when the weather gets chilly and the leaves change. And I like drinking hot cider. And there are just so many things about this time of year that I love. So I'd like to think that in an awful world, I would at least be like, we should celebrate like this time of year happening.
Yeah.
And so let's have like a party. But the whole like costumes thing, I mean, maybe, but is it going to be this time of year? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
We'd have like a separate day where it's like, and everybody dress up as like something you really like on this day.
I definitely think we would have some sort of like costumed holiday.
I think so too.
Because that's super fun. And like, I don't know if you did this in college where it was like Hollow Weekend, or sometimes if it fell on a Wednesday, you got 2 Hollow Weekends.
I wasn't cool in college. But
okay. Cool. But so we would always do where you make your own costumes. But if it fell on a Wednesday, you went out the weekend before and the weekend after, and you had a different costume every single night.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It was fantastic.
That's fun.
And it's a lot of fun. If it was on like a Thursday though, you went out like Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I couldn't normally do all of that. That's a lot. But because at least you can break it up if it's 2 weekends or whatever. But anyway, you go out every night, you wear a different costume, and a lot of times sorority informals would be that weekend, which are also a costumed event. And so you get to do that, and it's just like fun and creative and whatever.
Yeah.
And I loved making the costumes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
It's so much fun.
Which of course, because we both enjoy like sewing and crafting and that sort of thing. So being able to make your own costume, I am so excited to like have children and be that mom that makes their costumes.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be fire. We're going to be working on it from like early summer.
Oh, yeah,
like, we're going to get this stuff going. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But this is part of the problem with me is that I want it to be perfect.
Yeah. And that's just not always how it goes.
No. And just like, I really struggled with that as a kid because I'm like, oh, I want to be this. I want to do this. But like, I just, it was just always a little too much for me. Yeah. So now at this point in my life, I'm perfectly content not dressing up at Halloween.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people are like, yeah, I want to go to costume parties and whatever. And I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. I don't want to because it's too much pressure on me. It's too stressful. I can't figure it out. I don't want to do it. So I am like so content though to just like have a bonfire and pass out candy and watch spooky movies and eat my mommy dogs and then like slumber peacefully. And I just... Oh, I just love it though. I love it so much. It's so fun. It's one of the best holidays. It just warms my heart.
It is so fun. And so I definitely think we would have aspects of it. I think because we're both creative, we would definitely be like...
There would be a dress-up holiday.
There would be a dress-up holiday. We would have to. We would do like fun little parades of our costumes and like do fun things like that. And honestly, I don't want to live in a world where there wasn't a sweet treat that comes with that.
I agree with that completely. Because a world without a sweet treat is not a world worth living in.
Exactly. If I do anything,
you get a sweet treat.
I get a sweet treat.
Yeah, of course. So, you were very brave. You get a sweet treat.
Exactly. So I see us having the like key elements.
I agree. I just don't think it necessarily is all going to fall on the same day.
No.
But I definitely think this idea of like community and then having like candy, 100%.
100%.
I'm there. Now, again, is it going to happen this time of year? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe this time of year is like, we like just get together and we like look at the fall colors and we have snackies and cider and we pick apples or whatever. Right. I don't know.
Even though apple picking is kind of a summer thing.
So I know.
And that's such a bummer. And I learned
to think about that.
I learned that the hard way.
I know.
Last year we tried to do that for Ty's birthday, which is mid-October. And by the time we got there...
The apples are no bueno.
Yeah, they were all gone. We were like, oh, well, never mind. So this year we did it for our anniversary.
Which is good.
Yes.
It's good. But it's hot.
It's very hot. It was like 90 degrees.
Going to the pumpkin patch is more of this time of October time of year activity.
Yes.
Which I'll say is one of my favorite things to do. Even to this day, I try to carve a pumpkin every year if I can. I'm very serious about carving pumpkins. My boyfriend and I are having a contest this year. I've showed him my portfolio. He thinks he's going to beat me. Oh. I think that's really cute. Because I have done some pretty serious pumpkins over the years. Also, I love pumpkin seeds.
I do love them.
So I'll scoop them all out. I'll rinse those little bitches off. I will roast them in the oven and salt them up and I'll snack on them for days. I love pumpkin seeds.
Same.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for Halloween.
Now, here is something. When I was a kid, we would go to the pumpkin patch, me and my dad and my aunt and all my cousins. And, when you're little and you're like, I'm going to get the biggest pumpkin ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, my dad, this was one of, I think, like the smartest rules that he had. He was like, you can get whatever pumpkin you want as long as you can carry it.
Yep.
And so we would. Yes. And he'd be like, we're going to go down every row because you got to find the perfect pumpkin.
Yes.
Plus, there were like 6 little girls.
Right.
And so we all want different ones. You
and
know?
you do have to find the perfect pumpkin.
Yes, you have to find the right one.
For carving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would all pick up the biggest pumpkin that we could carry in our arms, just muster. And we're like waddling down the little row with our pumpkin. And he's like, you can carry it. And we're like, yep,
Yeah,
I'm
so
good.
strong.
I'm doing great. And
I've
then
got
like
this, my legs aren't quivering at all.
yeah, and like 2 minutes later, we like set it down and we pick up a slightly smaller pumpkin. And by the end, we all have like a normal size, like for our size pumpkin. But like at the beginning, we're carrying like a 40-pound pumpkin and
That's
we weigh
hysterical.
like 50 pounds.
That is hysterical.
And I'm like, I look back on that and I'm like, that had to be so funny to watch.
Yes.
Because we were all incredibly stubborn children.
Yep.
And we felt so strongly that we were going to carry this big pumpkin.
And your dad really humbled you with that.
Yes.
Good for him.
But we would like sneakily try to like set it down when no one was watching
Yeah,
and then
like-
pick up one that was just slightly
No,
smaller.
I've had this one the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
By
about.
the end, our pumpkin is like 4 pounds.
Like, that's weird. It shrunk on the way over
Like,
here.
weird.
That's suspicious. Anyway, this is one topic, Haylie, where I genuinely, I believe that, and I feel that I like this world better.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I just love it so much. I can't imagine not having it. Hey, listener, if you're in the Indianapolis area looking for warm photos of you and your loved ones, you're going to want to check out Hey Blondie. Hey Blondie is committed to capturing people from all walks of life through all stages of life, from a new baby to graduation. Check out HeyBlondiePhoto.com for more information and give them a like on Facebook and Instagram at Hey Blondie Photo.
Now, I would like to get into my favorite holiday.
And I believe your favorite holiday would be Valentine's Day.
That's correct.
All right, let's talk about
Now,
it.
here's where I think that we could figure it out faster, better.
Okay, hit
Now-
me with it.
Valentine's Day started again with the Romans.
Checks out.
Yes. So
Saint Valentine.
Yes, Saint Valentine starts with the Roman holiday. It's called like Lupercalia
Okay.
was originally Valentine's Day.
I'm just giggling to myself because I specifically did not do research on this because I knew you would. And I'm just so happy about it. We are
Yes.
just perfect compliments of each other. Please continue.
Yes. So, today, Valentine's Day, my favorite. First of all, it's just like a light spot in the dark season of winter.
It's so funny because I fucking hate it. I hate it.
Most people do, and I just don't understand because I'm like, I love love. Everything's so cute. Everything's covered in hearts.
I
and
think
everything
it's
is-
because I'm depressed because like Christmas is
Yes,
over and it's
and-
the middle of February and I
and
just
that
like,
is-
I don't get a day off. I fucking hate it.
I do believe we should get the day off
I
for
think so,
Valentine's
too.
Day. I think it would change a lot of people's
And
minds.
like, this isn't coming from a bitter perspective because I'm in the happiest relationship of my life. I'm madly in love with that man. And I want to celebrate our love every day.
Exactly.
So-
But I just think that it's nice that there's a day that's like 100%. Today's the day to celebrate love. And I think it's a day to celebrate all love. I like to do Galentine's Day with my friends. I like to get little treats for my pets.
Everything's pink.
Everything's pink. Everything's red. Everything's hearts. Everything's chocolate.
Yep.
These are just all the things that are so up my alley.
These are
And-
quintessential Haylie things.
Yes. And I love all of this. And so I just think it's nice. However, Lupercalia, not nice.
Oh, really? Tell me about it.
So on Lupercalia,
It's just a weird word.
yeah, I don't really know where the word comes from.
It's making me think lubricant, and I don't like that because that's making me think baby oil, which is making me think P. Diddy.
Stop it, Ken. So on Lupercalia, Roman priests would sacrifice a goat
Okay.
and sacrifice a dog.
No.
And then, to make matters worse, they would use strips of the skin from these animals that they had just sacrificed. They would dip them in the blood of the animals. And then they would whip women with them.
What?
Because they thought that it would make them more fertile.
Oh my God. The Romans are the worst people.
And we just gave them credit.
I did.
For like being woke and like merging holidays for Halloween, and then they turn around and they betray us like this.
I cannot even. What?
Uh-huh.
I mean, where would that even come from? So so tell me how this evolved into what we have. Do you know?
I kind of stopped there.
Of course.
I was really unsettled, if I'm being completely honest.
I can't imagine why.
It was really unsettling, and I just kind of assumed from there it's a fertility thing. That's how you get to love and Cupid, and that's how you get to Hallmark. I couldn't go on, honestly.
Okay.
So that would never happen in an awful world.
We certainly would
never let it happen.
It certainly wouldn't.
No one's brain would be like, you know what's going to make us fertile?
Sacrificing animals, dipping their skin in their own blood.
And then whipping the women with it.
No, I'm not going to be whipping anybody. There will be no whipping in an awful world.
No.
Here's my thing, though, about our Valentine's Day in an awful world. I think it would exist, too. But I think it would be in the summer.
See, I would like to believe it's in the summer, but I also think that it is nice that it's in
You need that shiny spot.
Yeah, it's because it's in February. All the big holidays are over. Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all those big ones, they've all ended. And then there's New Year's, and then there's nothing.
I know, and it's so depressing.
For a long
There's
time.
nothing like that first week of January where you're just like, oh, this is such a slog. I have nothing to look forward to.
Yes, you're like, I have to go to work all week.
All week. There's no break.
It's so cold.
It's dark. It's cold.
Yeah. It's dark when I get to work. It's dark when I get home from work.
All the Christmas lights are gone. There's just no celebrating to
You're
be
like,
had.
my pants don't fit as well anymore.
My pants don't fit. I'm fucking cold.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I just want to hibernate.
It's rough.
I get that. So
that's the only reason why I think it could potentially
be in the winter.
Okay. But I just think we would have skipped all the nonsense.
I agree.
And we would have just gone straight into being like, you know what?
Let's celebrate love.
Just celebrate love.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I just think it would be nice.
I agree with that completely. Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah. And again, it should always come with a sweet.
I agree completely.
I like that.
Now, speaking of sweet treats, there is another holiday that I feel that we should give an honorable mention to.
Let's hear it.
Thanksgiving.
All right.
I love Thanksgiving.
I don't.
I know, which is pretty funny. But I think I really just love the food and the football for me. And I don't think it's going to happen in an awful world, and I'll tell you why. Because there is no conquering of indigenous people.
No, we're not doing
an
that.
awful world.
Now, here's my only thing. If you think about what Thanksgiving is today, the story that we are told as children, which is a lie.
It is a lie.
But the story that we are told as children, that people just came over here, the Native Americans were so nice.
Openly accepted them.
Yes, everyone befriended everyone, and they taught us how to farm, which is already not really grounds for a holiday, is the fact that we couldn't farm on our own. That's sad.
We were too stupid to.
Yeah, that we were all just going to die out because we're too dumb. That's already a dumb reason for a holiday, in my opinion.
Right.
But that feels more in line with something that could actually happen in an awful world.
I agree, because it's really what it's become.
Yes.
Is a holiday for just giving thanks for family, for food, for, all the things that we are blessed to have.
Yes.
But the OG Thanksgiving story, you're right. It is a lie quite a bit. But I did read some interesting stuff about it that I thought was cool.
Let's hear it.
So obviously, everybody knows the story, the Pilgrims and the, Plymouth Rock, yada, yada, blah, blah. So when the Mayflower, left Plymouth for America in 1620, 66 days, they're on the Atlantic Ocean, and they left in November. It was about to be winter, not good. They wind up in Cape Cod, which is way farther north than they intended it to be.
Right.
So it's much colder. They were supposed to end up near the Hudson River, which is, down in New York and modern day New York, and they end up in modern day Massachusetts. So we're a little bit off by that. They stay pretty much the entire winter on the boat, on the Mayflower. The people who survived the passage, sparse, and then who survived the winter on the boat, also sparse. But anyway, the spring comes, they go ashore, And they actually are approached by a member of the Abenaki tribe, I believe, who actually greets them in English, which is crazy.
Wow, that is
Imagine
crazy.
landing. Yeah, pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So, he goes back to his tribe, this member of the Abenaki tribe, and he comes back with a person named Squanto, who is kind of a famous indigenous people figure. So Squanto actually has a really cool story, which I didn't write down the whole thing here. But if you're listening to this and you want to know about Squanto, I encourage you looking it up because it was really neat that basically he had been like kidnapped and all this stuff. And that's how he came to learn English. And he actually escaped and found his way back to the Americas, which is really neat. Very cool story. But he really did teach them, like here's how here's how you farm, here's how you catch fish, etc.
Right.
So they did have like a celebratory feast together one time.
One time.
And a lot of like gross stuff was on the menu. So we won't even talk about that.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like we really don't know. Like pretty sure it didn't happen in November, whatever.
Right.
We don't really totally understand the evolution of it other than New York officially adopts it as a holiday in 1817. And it was still celebrated like on different days. The South didn't even recognize that it was a holiday. Typical. And then,
well, I know that Abraham Lincoln signed it into law.
Yes, he did. That's right. So Abraham Lincoln he signed it as official in 1863 for the final Thursday in November. And it's like that for a while until Franklin Delano Roosevelt is our president. He tries to switch it to the second to last Thursday of the month. And they started referring to this as Franksgiving because of Franklin. It was not well received. He was trying to do it because the Great Depression had started and he was trying to spur more shopping and more whatever to the economy. Not well received.
Yeah.
We moved it back to the final Thursday of the month where it stayed all, this time as that. All this time, not that long again.
No,
another
not
like
really.
90 years that we've celebrated. And so again, I'll say I am very grateful that it is celebrated like it is, because if I had been born 200 years ago, I would not have Thanksgiving and I would be very sad in the month of November. But yeah, so I think that we would have like some sort of like a holiday about being like gracious for the things that we have in an awful world.
I just think that like the backstory for Thanksgiving, I'm like,
it's problematic.
It's nice to be like, oh, these people did help us out and we're very thankful. But then how did you actually thank them?
Right. Yeah. We killed them. We gave them smallpox.
And like raped all their women.
Yeah. And a bunch of other really bad stuff.
Yes. So like.
So it's a little problematic for sure.
And also, I'm not a big turkey.
I know, you're more of a ham girly.
I am a ham girly. So normally, my husband and I, we have ham and mashed potatoes, and I make cranberry sauce on top of baked brie.
I love that.
And that is it.
That's your meal.
And it's just the two of us.
I like turkey. I'll be honest, though, I'm in it for the sides. I'm almost always in everything for the sides.
I get that.
So the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, I'm here for all of that. I think in an awful world, we're going to make it a feast for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be confined to like any one thing.
No.
I think it's going to be just all the things that we like, all of our favorite foods. Like there's probably pizza on the table. I don't know.
I mean, why wouldn't there be?
Why wouldn't there be?
Delicious.
Yeah.
And also, I don't understand with Thanksgiving, it's always pies.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm like,
it's very pie heavy.
And I'm not a pie kind of gal. So I'm just kind of like, why can't we have pies and cakes and cookies and whatever?
We would in an awful world because we're going to be making all those things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I just think it could be a more fun holiday. Also, I'm just like not into the football, but I am into Black Friday because I do love shopping and I love a deal.
Oh,
never pay full price.
No.
Don't pay retail.
And I have like Black Friday traditions that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like we always go get Chinese food and it's just like it's super fun and it's just a fun time of year to have a couple of days off and to spend that time with people you love. And I just love it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel very cozy inside.
Yeah.
So, but like, just like everything, I mean, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, it's all been commercialized.
Yes.
And sort of like blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm I'm just really glad that I live in this time period for
I
holidays.
am too. I think that our holidays have gotten better.
I think so too. Yeah, they've only gotten better.
Yes.
They started out as like kind of weird.
Yeah. And luckily, I think in an awful world, we wouldn't do that.
No, it wouldn't start out as weird.
These ones are actually more awful.
Yeah.
Than in an awful world.
100%.
Now, something before we wrap this up is I want to talk about the holidays that we use for like people and to kind of just like rewrite history in general.
Like commemorative holidays like Christopher Columbus Day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or, even Thanksgiving, we're kind of using it to rewrite history a little. But Columbus Day, for sure, we're like, what a wonderful person who discovered America. And we're like, how did he discover it if there were people here?
Right.
And also, he didn't think he was in America.
Nope.
And also, he was like the worst person ever.
Horrible person.
So interesting that we still technically celebrate it.
It is interesting. Also, thank God that he was Spanish, because I'm just like, is that right? He was Spanish, right? Or was he?
Well,
yeah, he was Spanish.
We'll say he is. If we're wrong, sorry.
I'm just like, whew, Americans didn't exist, so we can't get the bad rap on this one.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's just like, we can throw it all back on you, Europe. Like, please, we're trying to make America good and not great again.
That's right.
Was already great. Sort of. Not really.
Sort of.
But yeah, so do you have something else to say about those?
Really?
Like commemorative holidays?
Wanted to say, like, I just think that they're kind of odd in general. I think it's weird that we have Christopher Columbus Day because he sucks.
Yeah.
But I also think that like we celebrate presidents' birthdays, and then all of a sudden we were like, let's just do President's Day.
I know.
And then on that day we just like get washers half off.
And for government employees, we don't have to go to work.
Yeah.
Wait, is that right?
I think so. Well, no. What we do is we get like Washington's birthday.
Yeah, which is in February. By the way.
And then they're like, it's Christmas Eve.
I know, it's
and you're
so
like,
weird.
What?
It's so weird.
We're just like, I don't know. I mean, all holidays are made up.
Grasping at straws, really.
Yes, but it's just super made up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just odd.
Yeah, it is odd. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how much of that we would have in an awful world, but I feel confident that we would have these, other like fun celebrations.
Yes, definitely.
So if you're listening, I know you're wondering to yourself, well, what the heck, guys? Were you ever going to talk about Christmas? Perhaps the most popular commercialized holiday of all time? Of course we're going to talk about it, but you're going to have to wait until next week to hear about it.
Part two.
So thanks for joining us as we discussed all of the holidays that we like and that the other one doesn't like, which is pretty funny. But we can all agree on Halloween, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So join us next week. We're going to be talking about Christmas. We're going to be wrapping up this season of An Awful World. We're super excited. In the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Give us a like, give us a follow. But until then, be good. We'll see you soon.
Wow.